Welcome back. The Trade Union Congress, the TUC, has urged the federal government to implement all agreements reached with organized labor in 2023, especially the national minimum wage. Now, the TUC president, Festus Osifo, said this in a 2024 New Year message jointly signed by Nuhu Toro, Secretary General of the Union, on Wednesday in Abuja. Now, Osifo said that the TUC had in 2023 strived to ensure that a social dialogue with the federal government prevailed, but they have failed to implement simple basic agreements with Labour. Now, he said that Labour had insisted that the October 2nd, 2023 agreements between them and the administration be notarized by the court. We still have with us in the studio Mr. Gani Oluwashola, who is the managing partner, KJB Professional Services, and also a public affairs commentator. Now, this has been on the news, and I want to know what you think the federal government, why the federal government is actually silent on this offer and the plans to make closed-door meetings to make sure that this happens. I mean, the minimum wage has been something that people have been talking about for a very long time. And
this is actually overdue, and this should also be given a priority, right? Because these are workers that generate the revenue that the government spend. And you cannot, if you don't treat the staff that generate the revenue very well, so they also look for other means to siphon the money. So in other words, the money might not get 100% to the government. You must try to make their life better off, right? And these are things, even Labour does not need to fight so much about it. And it's also demoralizing, and it affects their psyche. When they're the one that generate the money, and they see a minister that just came in less than 4 months, taking 37 billion, right? Seeing another person, then the question is that if they have this money and the accountant there and pull all their salaries together, and it is discovered that it's not even up to that. So what are we saying? So this also snowball into that. Do we have value for ourselves? So if we have value for ourselves and see that what are the value we are looking at it. So this should not, even the proposition was that 100,000, 150,000, 200,000, right? So, and you look at it in line with the current situation of Nigeria. If they are earning 100,000 in a month, 100,000 in a month is less than $1,000. So if they are earning less than $1,000 in a month, minimum wage,
that's about presently you get $1 for almost 900.
No, that is the I and he windows.
So when you say $1,000,
no, that is I and he windows.
In the black market, it's
around 1,300.
About that, yes.
Yeah. Right, and so which means that 100,000 is actually less than $1,000. So if they're
less than $100, that's what I'm getting. It's less than $100. Not $1,000.
$100. Yes, sorry. Yes, pardon me. $100.
Yeah.
Which means that in around early 80, $100 is like 100 naira. Do you get it? Yeah. So if we are earning for a whole month less than $100, pardon me, $100, then the question is that what do you want them to make out of it?
Now let's look at the agreement reached by NLC, TUC, and FG. In October, the organized labor union threatened to go on strike, and government had to call them in, and they had a conversation. That was around in October 3rd actually. They had a conversation, and then there was a 15 request about that they gave government, the government should do. Let's take them one by one and let's see how many we can take today. And I'd like to get your view on how you think government has held on to its own part of the bargain. Now, they talked about federal government grants or granting a wage award of 35,000 naira only to 35,000 naira to all federal government workers beginning from the month of September, pending when a new national minimum wage would be discussed and signed into law. 35,000 naira. How well has government obeyed that? Well, I'm privy to certain information, so I can tell you that largely was paid once by some government agencies. Some have only received 3 payments from September to December. Some have received just 1. All right. Now, they also talked about a minimum wage committee that will be inaugurated within 1 month from the date of this agreement. A reminder, the agreement was signed on the 3rd of October. Has that committee been established?
Which was, the committee has not even been established. So if there is no committee, there's no how you can follow up on things. So because the committee should be responsible to give the report and to follow up to ensure that this is what we decide and this is what we expect. And in the long run, there's no committee. So nobody to decide on anything. So at this
from
point,
October to now,
that is
no
even
committee.
That is even laxity on our side.
Does that mean, does the government take the people seriously at all?
That is the fact. You see, when we dovetail to some neighboring country, we talk about Finland, right? When you look at it, out of the government's revenue in the year, they spend over 54% on their citizen. So these are values for life. So if you have value for these things, then the question is that this should be one of the priority, because these are the life of your staffs, their well-being, their purchasing power. So these are things that also should be executed ASAP. Even before thinking of signing any car loan for any, you can't even, because these are the primary, they are even the primary people that will generate the revenue for these people to use.
CNG buses is part of the deal. Yes, part of the deal. The federal government they accept to vote 100 billion naira for the provision of high-capacity CNG buses for mass transit in Nigeria, and then they are also supposed to make an initial 55,000 CNG conversion kit available, and so people can convert their vehicles to CNG, that's compressed natural gas. What is happening with that one as well?
It has not yet seen the light of the day, because this talks
from October last year.
So this talks about the gap in the system. I will call also a lackadaisical attitude, and it will come in place if we have no value for people.
Should people feel a renewed hope with these things not being put in place?
Naturally, people will throw caution into the wind, and they will assume that the president does not have them at heart. They only come to talk to them and say that there is hope coming, right? But we should take some steps so that these people, so that it's not just them, they will be able to know that it's only in this December that the president's heard the cry and subsidized the fee for 50%. And it was also out that it's on specific places, location. Yes, from some specific location, not everywhere. So if we are going to make it, let us make it generic. Let us make it, let the people feel
How
that.
successful was that?
It was, but because it was streamlined to some specific. The
number of companies they partnered with, was that enough? I think about 4.
There was a story on the social media. A guy boarded a bus and he paid 50%. And the guy drew him out and tore his clothes. That is it the president that foiled his car that he didn't get to him. So if we are going to, I think the best thing also to do, actually, for us to make it, to also curb some level of corruption. Once you promise to provide facilities, let's get the buses. Let's make it available. Then we can even make the buses another thing like public-private partnership. Because if it's being run by government, it might not be effective and efficient.
Some people say government has no business being in business.
The government has no business to be in business, but they should also be in business, because most of these people that also come, and I also think one of the things also we also need to look at before putting people into power, let us see the business they've run successfully. All
Okay,
right.
Let me. Because of time, let me get on. So I can give my colleagues an opportunity to speak as well. Let me get on one of the things that was agreed upon, that federal government suspending collection of value-added tax on diesel for 6 months, beginning from October 2023.
I think that has been affected.
Okay, how has that impacted on the purchasing or the availability of diesel?
No, that does not
sector?
affect availability of diesel. It's just putting additional burden on the citizen. Okay, I'm buying diesel worth over 1,000 naira, and you are asking me to pay VAT, a tax on what I'm buying again. That is additional burden on the citizen. And they say that, oh, you don't kill the citizen by adding salt into injury. Take it off, let them still be able to breathe with the diesel they are buying. Because it makes no economic sense for me to purchase something with my hard currency, and the government is still saying that what you are purchasing, give me additional taxes on it. It shouldn't be done. So that's why I said, okay, remove VAT on diesel and let people transact, so that they're able to do their business in a way that is much more effective.
Okay, still assessing the agreement between labor, organized labor, and government. Government, one of the agreement here says a government should implement tax incentive measures for private sector and the general public. How successful has that been? I mean, that's your field.
No, that has not been implemented, though, right? And if the government goes, even what the government is saying, that they have a lot of tax incentives already, right, which is affecting like the free trade zone. If you are in business and your turnover in a year is less than 25 million, you are exempted from all form of taxes, right? Okay. The small and medium. And if your threshold of your business between 25 million and 100 million, rather paying 30% of your profit, you pay 20%. Right. So if a lot of things have been brought into it, and you now discover that, oh, a lot of big business now begin to divide their business, you ensure that you make less than 25 million to be able to take advantage of the loopholes in the system. So, but the question is just that, not only tax incentive, the question is that we should make the environment conducive. There was a time Kenya came up with a situation and says that if you are in Kenya and you're transacting business, the light must be on 24/7. If the power holding company takes the light without informing you, and you make some loss in business, they will refund you. So if an economy comes there, where do you think that business will run to? They will run there, because they ensure that one of the strengths of business is to ensure that there is power. As we are here now, if there is no electricity,
we can't even be here.
We can't do anything. So these are things that amplify and strengthen business performance and operation.
Yeah.
So if they are not there, and there are also insecurity challenges, it could also affect productivity.
Okay, you just said something about tax incentives, and I'm going to take you back to the president's statement this new year. He said, in his words, he said, we will race against time to ensure that all fiscal tax policies reforms we need to put in place are codified and simplified to ensure the business environment does not destroy value. Now, he went ahead to say on every foreign trip he's embarked on, the statement he has made to everybody that cares to listen is Nigeria is ready and open for business. These are the words of the president. What do you make of this sentence as concerning the reminder that the TUC has just come to tell the government? When you say a place is readily available for business, and then we have factors bedeviling that environment, and then your trade union is coming to call for a reminder of an agreement you had just 3 months ago. Can you just oppose this and let us understand in clear terms what you think the president is trying to tell Nigerians, not just the international body?
Okay. With this, there are a committee that is formed, headed by Taiwo Yedele. Right? They've done their quick win, which is within a month. Then they have a 3-month one and a 1 year, right, for them to conclude it. And what they're trying to do in the long run is to streamline all our taxes and make it just 7.
Okay.
To reduce it completely and make it 7, right? And when you look at it, that, I once said that out of these over 200 taxes that we have, only 7 brings revenue to the government. And if things are too many.
Tell us about the taxes quickly, please.
It's so, you see,
just a few of them.
The local government itself, when you get to it, in Port Harcourt, there was a time in Port Harcourt, a manufacturing company, he pay for, within the state, pay almost 100 and something taxes.
Wow.
And to an average businessman, once you tell him to boost business here, and he can't say he needs to pay XYZ amount for him to be able to do business, to him is the tax. Okay. Either local government, either at the state level or the federal level.
Okay.
So in the long run, you now discover that how much is getting to the government. Even for these, the Oluomo guys, those people that are collecting money.
Transport.
The money they made there runs into billions. And the question is that which road have they fixed?
As well, right?
Which road have they fixed? What have they used the fund for? So we have a lot of avenue where people's money are collected and it does not add value to them. Tax itself should return back with a value. It might not be to the payer, but to another person. Right. So if this committee does well, at the end of it, they must be able to streamline their taxes to just 7. So once we have 7 taxes, and it also they want to come up in a way that, if you are in business and your threshold, they even increase from 25 million upward to ensure that, let's ensure that people do business very well. We might not be able to collect the corporate taxes directly from them, but those people that are working with them, they will pay personal income tax. Not only that, their purchasing power, and there's what we call indirect taxes, like value-added taxes, excise duty. Once they go to either ShopRite or any other place to make some purchasing, they will add VAT on it, and which goes back to the government. So once we do that, we are going to increase the revenue that comes to the government, and which will make the environment. And when we talk about Nigeria open for business, Nigeria is indeed open for business, but we are not ready. Ready in the sense that, have we fixed our insecurity? Look at what happened in Plateau. Look at what happened in Samfara, right? Look at what happened in Benue. So, and you know that if you're outside, I was talking to one of my clients the other time. He was saying that, in Nigeria, they say they are killing everybody. And the way they picture or they paint the scenario to people outside the country, it's as if Nigeria is under flame and fire. And an average businessman that want to bring his money to a country to invest, and in his mind, once I plug in the money here, how do I repatriate my money? How do I even come in and check the business if it's doing well or not? So at that point in time, it naturally scares the investors from coming into the environment. So the thing is just like, we need to set our priority right. Tackle the insecurity. There are people that are sponsoring these bandits, that are ensuring that they're getting, just use ones as a deterrent. Use them as an example, and let's ensure that all those areas are being curbed, right? And we ensure that, what can we do to be able to stabilize the naira? Because another thing that is affecting an investor is that it's bringing in dollars. It's not bringing in naira.
Now, don't you think that this whole tax reforming and all of those things put together is the major reason why the TUC is looking at it from the point of the minimum wage for her workers?
No. The thing why because there's no how it's not going to make any difference to the workers. It's not going to affect, it's not going to affect purchase. It's just to the government, right? To taxes they are going to collect. So if my purchasing power does not increase, it's still going to affect the GDP, right? So there is no relationship with that, right? The only thing is just saying that, oh, TUC is saying that let the average Nigeria, let them even enjoy a bit. You can't tell me that you have 18,000 at minimum wage, 30,000 naira at minimum wage, 30,000 naira. And so if you are earning 30,000 naira per month, at the end of the year you are earning 360,000 naira, you are exempted from tax. And in South African here, if you are earning minimum of 250 equivalent of Nigerian naira, you'll be exempted from taxes. And in the long run, South African from pay alone, they rape in almost 17 trillion in Nigerian currency. And in Nigeria, despite everything, all the states in Nigeria, including FCTs, all the money that we've made is not up to 1 trillion.
From taxation?
From payee.
From payee, okay, pay as you earn.
Pay as you earn. So the question is that it's not about the resources who are in the tax net. The big boys are not in the tax net. You just tax the few ones that are earning little, and it's not getting more to the government. If we put it in at the 80-20 Pareto analysis, and you pick those big ones, the government will make more money. And those ones that are earning peanuts, give them some tax waivers. Once you give them some tax waiver, it will even increase their level of productivity, and they will do well in their place of work.
All right then. Well, we'll be dropping this conversation here. We must thank you for coming. But before I do the proper farewell, let's quickly drop some of the information as it concerns the agreement between organized labor and the government. And I'll leave you, the viewer, to determine how well government has fared in sticking to its own side of the deal. Now, we also know that the federal government was to pay 25,000 naira per month for 3 months, starting from October 2023, to 15 million households, including vulnerable persons. Now, has government done that? Well, you will have to, decide on that one. And they're also supposed to the federal government is to commit to the provision of funds as announced by the president on the 1st of August, broadcast to the nation for micro and small scale enterprises. Now, the MSMEs beneficiaries should commit to the principle of decent jobs. How well is that being monitored? That's another conversation. Oh well, big thank you to you, Dr. Oluwashola Ganyu, who is a managing partner, KJB Tax Audit Advisory.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll get into business. Stay with us.